all, a very good morning to everyone. So I'll be driving you through the Golang training session with MindMajix. So I will start with the company's profile, and moving on to I'll start giving introduction about myself and the course curriculum, which you'll be going to take it up. About myself, I'm a product development engineer. Been working with Golang for about 5 years, focused on backend technologies like Docker and Kubernetes. All also like been working with AWS and GCP, uh, all the cloud native environment as well. So I've been working as a product development engineer in the telecom domain, and also I've been consulting for a few of the open source projects and as well as the products as well. The scope of the demo. So what you're gonna go get with this demo is why Golang. So as you got to know, like we are driving through the Golang Go programming language or Golang. So we'll be giving you the why Golang and its application in the market, and what are the use cases, what problem does Go solves, and stuff like that. And also, we'll be driving you through the types and variables that are available in Golang and the functions. For a short note, the entire course curriculum is as follows. Like, what are the stuffs you'll be learning it with the entire training session. So, what are the real-time projects you're gonna work with? Everything will be followed as we go through the demo session. So, starting from a note, like why Go? So, as you all know, like Go is a fast-growing programming language around in the market. So for it's been around like a decade. We have been transforming all the backend products in Go. So it has been like it's been replacing all those traditional programming languages like Java, Python, and at some point of time, at some point of time, the industry leaders are adopting Go in their products and platforms. So why Go? So why is the necessity of a Go in a modern programming world? So Go is an open source programming language. Anybody can contribute to the Go. So it is written in C completely. So you can get the source code of Go easily at the GitHub, and you can go through the Golang source code written, and it is completely concurrent. Concurrent programming languages in the space, right? You would be achieving multi-threading concept with a single core machine, like concurrent programming execution. It is also parallel, but it is also parallel in execution. But the main focus of Go is concurrent programming language, and yeah, it's garbage collected. So as you all know, garbage collection is uh, a main motive of a programming language. When you move on to the high level programming language, you have to be clearing up the memory, and it has to be memory efficient and stuff like that. So it is garbage collected and scalable and efficient. These are the common terms you get to know or get to know when you read a programming language. It is efficient and scalable, and yeah, yep, it is simple. It is simple to write a Go code, as simple as that. You can kickstart with a Go code easily. So let's dig into the history of Golang. So how it has been into the market. So design began at late 2007 in Google laboratories. So began open source in November 2009. So since November 2009, it's an open source programming language, and where you can download the source code and look into it. And today's version is 1.2.2, but still like we got like 15 and 17 as well in the market. So that's been a typo here. So you can you know apologize for that. So today's version we have like 17 in the market, 1.7 17 in the market. So the key players is like Ian Lance Taylor, Russ Cox, like Lance Taylor, right? GCC, and Russ Cox, CSP, or Robert Kreismer, Hotspot, JVM guy, the Rob Pike, the Unix guy, who has contributed to the Unix and system, and Kenneth Thompson, B or a CLAN BEC Lang developer, and then UTF-8 constraint. So Ken Thompson, as you all know, the pioneer of computer science scientist, he's been working with B and C Lang, and also the Unix operating system, and also the UTF-8 standard for the strings. So these are the key players. I mean, pioneers in the computer science engineering field. They have contributed to the Golang programming. So next is like, what problem does Go solves? It is basically designed by Google to help solve Google's problem, right? So Google has a complex problem like building zillions of machines, putting into the production environment, and they've been writing trillions of codes to manage their search engines and their servers and then their cloud products and everything. So they have been using C++ for the servers and a lot of Java and Python. As you all know, like Java, C++ is very complex in maintaining the code and writing the stuff and interpreting. Though considered of its performance and stuff, you have to write n number of lines of codes to get an action for a C++ to do the magic in the environment of servers or gaming industry or whatever the industry we've been using C++. And as well as all about the Java, right? Java runs on a JVM machine. As you all know, like JVM is a complex. It itself occupies a huge lot of memory. So again, you put a Java code on top of it and run it. So there's been some of the complex problems they were trying to solve it. So Go comes in action to solve all those problems in Google's environment. They want to have build a language as faster than C, as you have to easily write the code when it comes to the modern programming languages, and hence the Go programming language was born. So the main reason Go was introduced in the market is like introduced in Google's environment is to eliminate the slowness and the clumsiness of the code. They don't want a clumsiness code in which they write it up, and then it is very easily to improvise the existing code and maintain it and to scale and scale to to uh, uh, to the benchmark what they have set. So what is the main focus of Go is it is designed by and for the people who write and read maintain large software systems. So the people who write large number of software systems, they use Go more in their environment. So yeah, so let me put out most of the examples. I mean, like most of the products that have been using Go in there. The Gains cloud native products, as you all know, like Docker is written purely in Go, and Kubernetes is also the container orchestration which is written in Go, and YouTube is using Go for some of their streaming services, and Google uses their Go in search engine and some of their Google products for building their backend. Amazon is using Go in some of the AWS services to achieve the virtualization and stuff. Nokia is been using Go for around for building their telecom network with replacing their traditional C++ and C. Mozilla, as you all know, they are foundation of the founders of Rustlang has been using Go as well. The canonical team, the Ubuntu's founders of Ubuntu have been using Go as well. So these are some of the giants that have been adopted Go in their production environment and successfully running their products. Okay, as you all know, like this course outline will consist of I've been covering you three topics in demo, and the entire course outline as follows. Like we'll be starting with Go use cases, and types and variables, packages, functions, arrays and slices, variable functions, pointers, structures, methods, interfaces, concurrency, object-oriented programming in Go, error handling, reflection, and real world applications in Go. We'll be at the end of the session, we'll be building some of the real world application like HTTP servers and application like Dockers, command line applications, and stuff like that. So what are the add-on topics we are going to cover is like, as I said, we are going to cover some of the sample web application, database connection, and then we'll be connecting with the database, and then we'll be putting some of the data with our application, and then the dependency management, how you're going to manage the third-party libraries, which you're going to import it in our product project, and then the project management, how you're going to write a clean code and Go. So for the ease of course, through the course, I have created a GitHub repository for you guys to go through this GitHub repository to get the insights of the code which I've been sharing with you, and as well as the golang.org/doc has a documentation and stuff for, as well as it has very huge document contributed with respect to all the concepts in Go. You can go through it. Projects which we're gonna take it up is command line application like Docker. So we'll be building a command line application. As I said, like Docker is a command line application, and then student management web application. It's like we create a HTTP web application with Go, connecting with the database. So you'll be able to create a student and put some roles and responsibilities, and then to manage a student and stuff like that. So we'll be driving it through that. The lab setup. So lab setup requires around a high speed internet connection, as well as a desktop or a laptop, whatever you have it. The system requirements, I suggest to use Linux. If you are already have a Macintosh, that is totally fine, no worries. But I will not recommend Windows because Windows is something clumsy for setting up the Golang and that stuff. But you can use it. That's not a problem. But the memory and CPU, you can have one core is fine, two core is fine, n number of cores is also fine. The memory is recommended memory is 16 GB, and also the 500 GB hard disk. So mock interviews, like after completion of this course, we conduct a mock interviews to the participants who wants to evaluate themselves before applying for the job to understand the knowledge gap. Like you take up the interview and then we ask series of questions what the industry expects from you as a Golang developer. So you'll be taught with few of the constraint, a few of the elements which are need to accomplish in the crack the interview in the market as well. So certifications with the Golang, you don't have any specified certification. It is very open source. It's not like a Java or any other programming languages which is close, like Microsoft, C Sharp or anything. You don't have any specific certification specified by the Go developers. But some of the Linux Foundation certificates, like Certified Kubernetes Administrator and Kubernetes Developer, requires more knowledge to clear it. So Go is the fundamental of clearing this Docker and Kubernetes certification provided by Linux Foundation. And some of the learning platforms like Edureka and Coursera have their certifications as well. So you can enroll it and register for their exams and clear it. So at the end of the course, you will be given the course completion, a certificate of achievement for completing this course, signed by our directors. So you'll be get this certificate online. So before ending up this, I would like to start with the demo of this Golang project, which any programming language would be. So I'm gonna share you the sample snippets which have been created. So as you all know, like we have covered like why Go and why Go in the market and stuff like that. We're gonna jump into the types and variables, which we already have it, right? So what is a type in Golang? A type a type is similar, like Go evolves around the Go programming language evolves around the type, right? So whenever you declare a variable, you have to declare a type. So that is what Golang suggested. So it is statically typed programming language. So I'm going to share you the snippet. So you'll be explained in detail about the the Golang environment setup in the training session. So right now I'm gonna focus you on about writing a simple Golang programming Golang program. So anyway, when you start with a new programming language, you'll be starting with a Hello World program, right? So you'll be writing a simple Hello World program that prints Hello World in your console or whatever you wherever you run your program, right? I'm going to give you I'm going to teach you or go through this program. So this starts with the package main. So what does a package main suggest? And this is an import statement, and this is the main program. So as you all aware of main function in the C language, the same way Go programming language also executes it. So whenever you run a program, say for example, you have to run a program with go run main.go or go run whatever the name you give it .go, it search for a main function and it has to be in a main package. So when it finds when it matches the main package and main function, it executes from the line one. So how this program executes? So whenever this program starts, it searches for a main function, and whatever the line you given inside the main function will execute sequentially. So for example, here we have given fmt.println hello world. So what is this FMT? FMT is a format package which is inbuilt available in Golang. You give a FMT package import followed by the import statement. So whenever you import this package, right? So you'll be importing it at the top of it, or top of the program, below the main package, below the package keyword. So import all these keywords will be a bit weird to you, but you you gotta just listen it. Going on following through the classes, following through the session, I'll be explaining you how this package works, how this import statement works, how this function works, and exam and stuff like that. Okay, so simple thing. When you run this program, right? So whenever you run this program, you have to have a setup in your machine, right? So once all your Golang setup is done, when you give go run whatever this hello world, right? Hello world main.go. What is that? Hello world.go. Hello world.go. It basically prints the hello world message. So whatever the message it gives here, right? So whatever message, what message, it's gonna print you whatever the message you give inside this. So basically, how this program works is, right? It searches for the main function, and whenever the main function start executing sequentially. So println is same as that of a printf statement with a new line. So it gives you it prints whatever the message you give inside a println function. Right? So then what is a variable in Go? So whether it may be a programming domain, I hope everybody is from programming domain. So what is a variable? Variable is something like it holds a value, right? So so Go has a specific type to constraint. So as you all know from the previous program, you have this variable, right? As you all know, this is a main function, and variable has to be declared with a type, right? So it has to be declared with a predefined type. So variable with the str is again a variable, and also string is a type of a variable. There are few types, inbuilt types that has been supported by Go. Which other programming languages support is right? A string, integer, character, float, and then Boolean. Yeah, you got Boolean as well. So yeah, so whenever so this is a type of a declaration which you have to do it to declare a variable. So this is a string. String comes with a string declaration, and then integer comes with the integer declaration. Floating point comes with a floating point declaration. So what happens when you wrongly declare a type and then when you wrongly assign a variable to it? Exactly. Go has a compiler programming language, right? So it will throw you the error at the compiler time itself, right? So say for example this I have been giving a string, right? So I've been giving a number to it and saving it and trying to run the program. So let's see what the compiler does is. It's gonna throw you where so cannot use 834 as type untyped int as a type string in the assignment. So this is something like a type string. So you have to put it in the double quotes. So whenever you declare it as string, you have to declare it in a double quotes, and also you can declare it with the single quotes. That will be as follows at the time. And also integer you have integer in 32 in 64. In 32 and in 64 are based on the machines, and float has float 32 and float 64 as well. So if you simply give int, it will directly take the machines CPU architecture and then it will assign to it. So you can also declare a variable in the multiple declaration. Say for example, here I've been doing it as an employee of type int, and then I'm declaring it as a five, and then I'm declaring first name and last name with a multiple single line declaration is also possible in Go. So when you run this program, it's gonna print you the employee first name and last name. So five Padmanabhan and Madhu, and then multi-int. So, say for example, Go supports a shorthand declaration as well. So, I want you to focus on this line. So, there is a declaration called as a colon equal to. So, what does it actually mean? It actually means that you're declaring variables on the flow, right? So you're declaring variable on the flow. So you can declare as it is with a multiple declaration as well. So what is a type inference in Go? Type inference function is type inference is something like you declare a variable keyword and the compiler assigns its type on the runtime. So say for example, this is of type hello. Hello is of type integer since you declared 45 as a number to it. And then same similar way of multiple declaration. There is multiple inference as well. So when you declare a variable with multiple variables, you're gonna assign the type on the runtime. That is also possible. And then default values for the variable default values for the variable is also possible. So say for example the compiler puts the default value for all these variables at the runtime itself. So the default value for a string is an empty string, and variable of integer is of 0, and floating point is zero point 0, and variable of bool is false. So let me run you this program and see what are the expected outputs. So name one is of type string, and then name two of type string, integer and floating point number, and then the default values when you print the values over it, the variable string is of empty string, empty space, and variable int of 0, floating point is 0.000, and variable boolean as false as expected. There is something called as a byte and a room. So Go has a special character or a special data type called as a rune. So rune is something like Golang introduced it to hold the special characters in Golang. Right? So when you run this program, so here you go. So when you declare a byte, it is of type of a character. So you hold a single character inside a byte, and then it prints 97. So what does 97 mean? It is a Unicode of that byte. And then the character is A, and the integer representation, the integer 32 representation of 97. Similarly for the reviewing character as well. Numeric operations. You can do direct numeric operations. Say, for example, you do it in an interpreted programming language, like in Python. You open the shell and do the program and do the numeric operation on the go. Similarly, you can do the numeric operation in Golang as well on the fly. So similarly, this will hold the value of 4 and 5, and then this will do the arithmetic operation. And a plus plus is increment by 1, and b plus 10 is equal to increment by 10. So this is an XOR bitwise operator. So I want you to go through more about the documentation to understand more about the math function as well. It has been available in the Golang document, so you can go through it. So similarly, the numeric types which have been introduced. So I want you to focus you on here. So there is some type as integer 8, unsigned integer, float 32. So what does that integer 8? What does that integer 8 declares? So integer 8 is something. So this integer 8 has a 8-bit integer, 8-bit signed integer. The range varies, right? So wherever the range of the integer varies from minus 128 to 127, you can assign any number between minus 128 to 127. And similarly, they have integer 16, integer 32, and integer 64. 16-bit, 32-bit, and 64-bit integers. Different differentiation on the range of it. So what is this unsigned integer? Unsigned integer is capable of holding only the unsigned values, so it cannot go to the negative values as well. So similarly, when I run this program, so it print me the 97,200, 500, 4.5, whatever 0, and 9.12 as well, the floating point number as well. So these are the numeric types which are available in Go. All right. So moving on to the next part of the session, it is a function. So wherever you go with a programming language, you got a function, right? So what does a function does? A function is something that does its work, right? So what is a function? So in real world, you declare it as a function and then you put it inside of your program. So it does the specific job for you. It computes and give you some values as well, right? So what does this function execute? So how to write a function, simple function in a Golang? So it has to be start with a func keyword. So this is a keyword for a function, and this is a simple function, and it has to be with the open close curly brace, open close braces, and with the curly braces as well. So inside this curly braces, here you go. This is a function definition. You gotta write all your function definition inside it. So whatever the function definition, you can even write the math computation inside it, whatever function. So this is some more a bit tweak in the function keyword. So here we declare a function with the input parameter and the return type. So here there is an input parameter. So here x is of type integer. So wherever you go, you have to declare a type inside a Go programming language. So I do some of the math computation here and then I return even or odd with this function, right? So also this add nums. Add nums will take multiple parameters. You also can declare a function with the multiple parameters separated by comma. So here is of type, this x, y, z is of type same type. So I declared it as an integer. You can declare it as any type. Like so, say for example, xy of type string. So what does it mean? So xy will become string, and then z will become integer. So for now, so when you execute this program, what you will get it as output, you will get this first line executed, and the second line will be the even or odd computation, and the third line will be adding of three numbers. So it will add and return it, right? So this is the simple example of a function. So guys, so what exactly this does? So what this is a function. So you declare a function and then you assign to a variable and then you can call it with that itself. So K becomes now a function as well. And also there is something called anonymous. So this block is something like assigning a function to a variable. And also there is something called as an anonymous function, a function called by itself. You write a function here, and then you declare whatever the thing. So at the runtime, what this Go compiler does is, so it will execute an anonymous function. So this is the keyword for calling a function, right? So you have to do it at the end of the function. So I'm gonna execute this. There you go. You get anonymous function. Ignore this for now. This is how the function gets executed. Hope that is the end of the demo session. Hope I'll see you all again in the future class. All right, so that's the end of the demo session. So thank you for attending the demo. So please share your feedback if any, or if I want to improvise anything on my part. And let hope you all meet you in the future class as well. Thank you. Thank you all.